Welcome, beautiful souls, to Season 4, Heart-Led, Soul-Fed podcast. This is a show that explores how we spiritually and practically embody a life that's heart-led and soul-fed. Many of you know I went whole food plant-based almost a year and a half ago, and part of that is incorporating a strong, healthy mind, body, and soul. So upgrade your body with nutrient-dense supplements that are organic, non-GMO, and not tested on animals. Message me for your $25 gift card. 360-degree wellness begins by building a self-care kit. You can begin that with a dream journal that I curated, a gratitude journal, and my book, Intuition Saved My Life. Plus lots of other beautiful heart-centered conscious products. Episode 248 welcomes Janell Warkentin, Healing with Horses. And Horse Spirit says, increase your intuition, jump over hurdles in your life, and set your soul free. Janell Warkentin is a compassionate and seasoned intuitive energy healer with 20 years of experience in supporting professional women in discovering their higher gifts and purpose in life. And I'm so excited to have her on the show today. I guide empaths and old souls to overcome anxiety, unworthiness, and overwhelm to unleash their gifts and find their purpose. The doors for Unleash Your Magic 6-month mentorship experience is now open. Isn't it time you followed your dreams? Are you tired of the one-off sessions? Do you feel like you have some growth and then you slide back? Well, Unleash Your Purpose is 1 year of sustained and is the ultimate transformation. Looking for your soul tribe? Well, you found the place. Our Soul Healers community is welcoming you on the path towards your best life in this lifetime. Learn how to heal with Usui Reiki. I teach level 1, 2, and master, as well as animal Reiki. Replays can be found anywhere you watch your favorite videos or listen to your favorite podcast. Please like, subscribe, and follow, and join us live every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Mountain. And to find the latest and greatest events, happenings, contests, and more, check out my new website, Christine.gold. Hello, welcome everyone. Yes, check out the new website. It's a work in progress, just like we all are. This is the Heart-Led, Soul-Fed show. This is season 4. If you are joining us live, say hello. Let us know where you're from. We want to know. And I want to welcome in our guest. Yes, I love horses. I love animals, period. And I really feel, people don't come into our lives by accident. There are no coincidences. It's all a divine setup. And Janell is really, channeling her higher gifts and purpose in life through horses and through wellness. And I wanted to bring her on the show so everyone could enjoy how she came to know herself through horses. So I'm just going to bring her on and let us know where you are in the world as well. I always forget to ask. I am in Calgary. We're having some wildfires here. It's very smoky, very, very smoky. Not great for everyone, but we're praying and sending lots of healing vibes to everyone involved. All right. Hi, Janell. Welcome to the show.
Joining us. So good to be here.
So yeah, maybe you just take it away. I mean, I'm in Calgary, Canada. Where in the world are you?
I'm in Central Oregon, so high desert, southeast of Bend, Oregon. So out here in this beautiful desert. It's not for everybody, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean that's a definite, we're prairies and mountains and lakes and streams, and every area has a sacred energy. Yeah,
It
so
does. Yeah, it really does. I agree with you. And it's just being able to have that combination where we are, it's like I said, high desert, and we have these beautiful array of cliffs, rock formations that were formed underwater back when this was all water. and and now it houses incredible energy. And I have a vortex on the property. We're here on 165 acres a farm, and then we have the animals. But then just 30 minutes southwest of us, we have the mountains and lakes. And yeah, so that, we get to tap into that energy as well. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. I'm so glad I brought that up because, and here's the thing. Would you not agree? I have quite a few friends in Sedona and Mount Shasta and other places, but I had a client say to me earlier this week, she's like, oh, I just want to go to Sedona. Let's go. And I go, do you know what happens when you go to these sacred sites, these portals, these energy centers? She's like, no. I said, you will be destroyed. She's like, what do you mean? I said, well, people always think I'm going to be so enlightened, but it's actually whatever transpires the shadow side, right? It will complete transformation, I guess, through the tower, like a tower moment.
You got to be ready for it. I agree. A girlfriend and I travel and heal different sites that we're called to. And there's times we go in very ready and you do. I agree with you. You have to be ready. And it's good to go in with wisdom.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe just tell us how you and horses, I guess, connected initially. What was the aha moment, the light bulb?
Horses are my heartbeat. Number one, I know I'm like you. I tell you, I connect to animals. I love animals as well. And I'm seeing your lovely cat. I'm like, oh, this is so cool that you let your cat join us. That just is so fun. It's good.
They always know where the fun is. No.
They do know.
Or how to bring the fun, more play, more fun.
And they're going to be in the middle of it. So my journey with horses, I grew up in a family. My mother is a horsewoman, and she's excellent. And while I was still in utero, she rode until she just her and I couldn't fit in the saddle together. And so I really feel that was my connection through her on the horse. Then I started riding by myself at the age of 4. And at the age of 5, I was moving cattle with the horse by myself, just full out running. You think, how the heck do you stay on a horse when your legs only come down the saddle, barely tipping over the edge of this? And I rode this beautiful black thoroughbred mare who just took care of me. And I was connected to her. You see the Avatar movie, and how they connect their animals through those tails and things. And I feel like that was me as a child. I just connected with this horse. And and I was super into hindsight's 2020, you guys, because back then it was so normal to me. And I think a lot of our audience may be able to relate to this, that when you're a child, your intuitive gifts are just so you don't know that that's what you're doing. Hindsight though, yes, I was connecting to my horse. I was connecting to the bunny rabbit in the pen. I was I used to sit with the bunny rabbit in a pen just because I enjoyed it. And the dogs, the cats. There was a big bear I grew up very rural. There was a big bear that just sat a few yards from the house, wasn't to harm. He was curious about us. Mom just said, yeah, he was fine. And I would connect to that bear intuitively. And so that whole world made so much sense to me. I have an auditory processing disorder, and I'm very dyslexic. So the world of words made no sense to me. And the world of this intuitive side made total sense to me. I go to school, though, and I'm shifting into the world of words. And now my gifts begin to become my problem. And it becomes the reason I have so much trauma. I'm always wrong. I'm misunderstanding because they're talking to me and I'm not getting it. So I'm trying to operate intuitively, which I knew how to do so well, but I read what they meant and what I heard was totally different. So I was in a spiral of confusion. And because I didn't understand why, then became an emotional spiral of confusion. So confusion on confusion. And that caused the effect of shutting down to a large degree those intuitive gifts. Well, like you and I know, that means we separate ourselves from our authenticness, who we are, our light. And I began to try to navigate without that. Well, you can guess how that went. And then it's just layers of separation. I don't know who I am. And I put on a front and layers of fronts to try to be what I thought I was supposed to be, to try to fit in, because I didn't fit in. I didn't perceive I fit in. Okay, we'll put it that way. Until I started training early on. I'm a chronic entrepreneur, and started my own chic business when I was like 6 years old. And I mean, I just always had that mind, very creative person. But when I was 17, I started training professionally. I had opportunity to start working with a horse trainer at 12, and I paid my own way. I did everything, my parents supported my efforts, but I paid my own way. And my horse trainer said, "You're kind of a pistol. I like you." I had wild dark hair that was in such a knot. I had hair like a wild horse. I mean, it was just in knots all the time because I was just this free being out there riding and just experiencing these animals and this horse. So the trainer says, "I'll work with you." So I worked for her, and then in trade, she gave me lessons. So I started training professionally when I was 17, but I closed that down to travel the world. Chapter 1, as an adult, traveled the world and worked in Russia and worked with street children and taught English to ninth graders, was how I got my visa. Came back in 95, started chapter 2, built an indoor arena and started training again. And I attracted what would be labeled outlaws. Okay, so they're biking, kicking,
rebels. Yeah.
rebels. Okay. Yeah.
Me too.
Okay, we attracted each other. So likes attract. So if you're on this call with us, there you go. You joined a good team.
Who else is a rebel and an outlaw? Say I.
Yeah. And so, in my dyslexic gifts, and I'm a learning specialist. One of the hats I've worn is I'm a learning specialist, and have studied the neuroconnections and what causes us cognitively to learn, and what neurodiversity means, and how that shows up actually in a very giftedness in us. So back to the ponies. So here I am working with these horses, and in my giftedness in being dyslexic and in auditory processing and some other pieces, I saw that I could see the horse. Here's a horse, but I could see the horse. So I would free run them in my arena, no human interaction, just free move them. And I could see that biomechanically they were not working correctly. Something is off. And I got curious. Why? Because you're in pain, you are striking out. There's a why. Where's your root? Well, as I connected with the horses and they could feel in me that I was here to see them and hear them, and we could work together in helping them, they started touching me. And I get teary every time because it was so profound in how they could reach into this human who had totally shut themselves off. I didn't even realize to the degree until they opened me up. Their world is the world of intuitive and spiritual gifts. That is so normal to them. So as I reached in to be a learner, they touched me to show me, one, how to help them. And I networked with 3 incredible healers. So a vet that went Eastern medicine, and herb, Chinese medicine and herb treatments.
Love that.
Love that. I know it was huge. And then we went into chiropractics, horse chiropractics, and another gal was a body work, energy worker. And the three of those ladies helped me get those horses, their chiropractics, their teeth, their feet, and their body as a whole out of pain. And as I'm doing this, I'm starting to see. So the horses were activating my gifts. The horses activate our gifts. And that's what I do now. We've talked about that, Christine, that now I take people to the horses. Why? Because they will activate our gifts.
That's right. I see them like when you're gazing into a pond, like they go deep and you don't even know what's happening. I've had the experience. And then all of a sudden it's like almost like drawing poison out of you in a sense, but you don't know where the poison is, but they do.
They see it, and they know intuitively, because this is their space. They know intuitively what's ready to shift next. We operate, and I know we are trained to operate in our heads from almost day. And horses and animals are trained from day one to operate within their heart space. So we get stuck in our head and try to look at it through this analytical process, and they go, whatever. And they dive deep into our hearts and go, what's ready to shift now?
Yeah. Absolutely. Like dismissing, they pick up on anything you're like, yeah, I dealt with that. They're like, really? No, sorry.
Yeah, let me touch this spot again and see how well you've really dealt with that.
That's right.
And the tears start flowing.
Yeah, you're like, what's wrong with me? Nothing. This needs to happen. You need to just surrender and trust.
Yeah, let it go. Let that go. So that was 12 years of being tutored by horses, and they opened up. So the medical medium side of me opened up. The channeling started to open up again. My high empathic gifts, they started showing me how it worked, how I was actually talking to animals and able to hear what they were saying. They started showing me how that worked. And so I fast forward and then went on and did the learning specialist work. So that was chapter 3 of learning how the brain works. And now I'm in chapter 4, bringing this all together. How do we support people and bring them to the horses? Of course, that's where I'm working, right? We tag team as healers, don't we? It's synergetic. We're connected. We're a part of a whole. And my piece of that whole is bringing people to those horses and just letting them feel, or let the horses move. And then I translate, hey, this is what's happening. This is what's shifting. This is what's activating for you. Because what activates in me is going to be different than what activates in somebody else. The sequence in which it happens, how it shows up for somebody, in your work, I'm sure you've seen how this set of intuitive gifts is going to look different than the same set of gifts in somebody else. So how do we translate that and get familiar, recognize how is that talking to me? I think that's huge. How is this talking to me?
Absolutely. And everybody has your clairs. What's your strongest clair? Is it clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairalience? I mean, and then developing it and just really leaning into it. And those other gifts will come, like all the other clairs will step forward. They might not be as strong, but like a muscle, you have to work and build it.
Yeah, exactly.
And practice. And just, again, here we go, surrender and trust and let go. Because the ego wants to get in there and go, oh, is that right? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Because someone told you you're crazy once and told you to shut it down. Right?
That's so true.
I've had that experience, especially in school. I call it an institution for a reason.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying they're all like that, but my experience and many of my clients, I don't know about you. I mean, when you talk about dyslexia and, my mom had ADHD, but she had no idea until she was like 50 something. She had no idea. And actually a lot of women have that, or like you said, dyslexia, or they're on the spectrum of something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And are gifted a lot of, like, so in my learning specialist, when I'm wearing that hat, so I see that most of my ADHD and individuals on the spectrum, clients are also very gifted. Like the world of intuitive gifts is, they're just, it's right there for them. And a lot of the individuals that I went to school with and studied about, expanding my toolkit, so to speak, they were all either dyslexic or ADHD. It's like, okay, it appears as a challenge because it is challenging until you understand what's going on. And you're like, with my dyslexia, my gift is sight. And when it comes to words, it scrambles the heck out of them. Okay, so it appears to be this disability, but the truth is, to me, is that it is a gift, because it's where my sight comes from. Why can I look into a horse and see where the meridians are? Why can I see, where the blocks are? It's because of this gift that it's tied to. The symptom is dyslexia if you're looking at a book. But the gift is I can see. And you said the taste, the smell. I'm finding, see what your experience is, that I'd like to know, that we will have a driving one that's driving first. So mine was sight and feel. Mm-hmm. I can feel into something and I can see into something. Those were the drivers. But as I'm developing those and situational, am I working, if you and I were to heal together and work collectively to support somebody or a group of somebody's or the earth, my gifts will, maybe your sight is supposed to work, but maybe my hearing is supposed to pick up and work. So really being aware that maybe right now these two are my drivers. These are the strong ones right now. But sometimes the hearing wants to lead. Sometimes the taste and smell want to lead. Sometimes it's my gut wants to lead. So which part of our gift wants and is ready to lead? And having the wisdom or the lack of ego, be able to sit back and let it go. Let go. I love your ego words. I'm borrowing, those are yours. I love it because I really agree with that.
Yeah, I would describe it. I'm very visual. I like to talk with my hands. I might have been Italian in a past life or something, but the ego would sit here, right? And that blocks our third eye, which is innately, how we see and perceive everything around us, our senses. So once you learn it's not the enemy and you heal your shadows, because that's all it is, I call it the backseat driver, but it's not allowed to talk very much unless I'm in danger or I need to get stuff done, that type of thing. The rest of it is, some people call it woo or, whatever it is. I call it practical spirituality because you have to be, below and above, but heart-led. That's the whole premise of the show, is we tend to lead with the mind. Mm-hmm. No, we're going to lead with the heart. It says everything. And yeah, growing up as a child, I felt everything. And that's the thing of being an empath and an old soul. You feel. So when people say, oh, I'm good, I'm like, could you please tell me the truth? Because that's not what I'm picking up. Mm-hmm. But we're so trained to do that, right?
We are so trained. And at one level, I think we are good. I think our brain says, well, am I bleeding out? No. Yeah, I'm good. But we separate, I think, as a cultural thing. I'm going to go there, possibly, that we separate. It's a protective technique. I know in my healing journey for myself, it was protection.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to stay here because what was here was too painful. Too much. I didn't know how to deal and translate it, is what it was. I didn't know how to deal and translate. And one of my intuitive gifts is I'm a transmuter. Had no idea what that meant. And so I would pick up things through my high empathic side and I would be transmuting it, but it stayed in my body because I didn't know how to clear it. And it's so important to know, what are my gifts? it's good to get a feel of that so that you know how to navigate with those gifts. Because once I learned as a transmuter that, oh, I can just let that go. That's not mine. Identify, this is me, but this isn't me. I picked up from whomever. God bless them, because they feel better now. That's the gift's job. But now let's let go of it out of my body and how I do that.
Yeah, and grounding and cutting cords and boundaries and protection, and those are all practices. And like you said, if you don't unpack it and let it go, it will turn into a disease. Your body will tell you. I mean, that's what happened. I had anxiety, depression, 2 attempts to die by suicide. I was a wreck, pre-2017. I was a mess. But hey, I made 6 figures. I made $100,000 a year and I had everything. No, sorry. I had nothing. I was a shell. Anyways, I'm so glad. I mean, our stories are very similar. And I love that. And I know there's other people out there that are going, me too. Please, let us know if you're live. Don't be shy. I know there's people watching right now. There's quite a few. So, and we want to know where you're from. And if you have any questions for Janell, or you have questions about horses, or you have questions about anything, spirit. I mean, I love animals, and I'm always, looking at animal totems and messages. And I mean, what are your signs and symbols? I mean, when you're working, I mean, you kind of showed, but what do you see? Repeating numbers? Do you get songs? Do you get, what do you get?
I get all the above. So it depends on what's happening, but I do. I get repeating numbers will come when I'm working on something logistic. I have found that pattern. If I'm problem solving and I'm putting together, kind of working in my high masculine side, I'm needing to put structure together, and I'm asking questions to my higher source, and I'm saying, okay, where do I go here? I'll start seeing numbers, and I'll just 22, 555, 333, 444, and that I'll just be like, okay, I get it. You're guiding me. I got it. I'm good. And I'll just be in a space of gratitude. Let you lead. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will get smells.
Those are fun.
Took me a while to figure that one out. I thought, why do I smell burnt popcorn right now? And I'm checking all over the place, But I've started feeling into that and learning that smells are helping me connect to maybe something that's ready to be acknowledged in myself, to shift. Usually it's sometimes that space needs cleared. I went through town yesterday and I could pick up an energy that just a cord that needed cut, and I didn't pay attention to it. And sometimes that sense will give me the heads up that needs, or my cat will come over to me and go, lecture in cat voice. And often that means, Janell, take a look. You probably needed to clear something or close off something that you didn't close off. It needs closed. Guidance is all around us, and the animals, I feel just sitting back and tapping into. We have hawks around here all the time. Seeing a hawk does not mean anything, but there's a time when seeing a hawk means everything. Like I took a walk and a hike in the field, and a hawk was circling me, and I went, oh, hi. And I started talking to this hawk, and I could feel click, click, click to connect. And I ran in and I looked up, okay, hawk medicine. What's this, trying to show me? We had a huge herd of elk show up the other day, and I went, oh, hello. This is unusual. What's elk medicine saying today? So I think it's about awareness, isn't it? And the horse will, especially my mare named Blue. Blue's been with me since she was 3. She is a very special mare, and she is my guide. She is so connected, and she's a guide. The other horses are healers, and Blue's a guide. And she will show me what needs to be seen. She took me on on a trip the other day, a healing journey, to connect to part of me that I needed to understand and needed to grow in myself. But she took me there and introduced me to that part of myself. And I could see it in my mind's eye, what I was to see, different forms that I had forgotten that I was. And she connected that to me. But that's her job. That's her role in my life, is to introduce me. And occasionally she'll connect with clients that come and do the same thing for me. I always go in for them. I always go in and ask her, Blue, are you ready? Do you want to, is it your job? Because they all know as well when it's their turn to work with somebody or not. And she'll say yes or no. The other two, though, will usually say yes, and they're healers. They heal. If somebody's needing healed and or activated, it's Mercedes or Denali. The other two will step up for that role, and they just connect. They'll get right up. You don't have to be a horse person to work with animals to be activated. They will do their job. I set the stage, we set the container, and the horse just comes up to them, even virtually. I find that very interesting. Not surprised, but
yeah.
interesting. And they will connect with a person or group of people, and they just come in and their head, like this one gal that was there. I said, just sit here on this salt block. We keep it very organic. Sit here on this salt block. And she sat there. I held space. And Mercedes this gal was sitting here, and Mercedes took her head and just had it softly, like barely touching her face. And in normal horse human, you don't want to be that close to a horse head because they could jerk and break your nose. That's the horse trainer side of me speaking. But Mercedes just was like right here. And the client was like, I have never felt that kind of energy, loving energy in my life. Like I've never been loved that deeply before in my life. And things shifted that needed to shift. It was a love treatment. That one was. So yeah, it's just so cool.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. I've seen a documentary about that. I think the lady was in Kamloops, British Columbia. And like she leads retreats, and people that are all the root cause of anything is trauma, whatever that shows up as. So it's just wonderful to watch. I mean, all animals have that ability. I don't know about you, but I get clients, oh, what's my cat saying? I don't know how to connect. So what would you recommend for someone that's asking those questions?
I would, because what we tend to do, see if this resonates. What we tend to do when we say, well, what's that cat trying to say to me? What's my dog trying to say to me? We instantly go into our head to get logical about it.
Yeah.
And they're not working in logical. So we got to get out of that space, number one, because the animal's not there. And I'm guilty of that all the time. And I know better. It's just our thing. The next thing I would suggest is to then go sit on the ground if you can, and your closest place that you can be to ground. Take a deep breath in through your nose 3 times, slowly out through your mouth. Set the intention to connect to ground and say, I set the intention to feel with my heart. And we have an auric field around us. We have a field. And the animals use theirs to talk. And if we set the intention to gently let our field and their field touch with the intention not to think, tell your brain to take 5 minutes, a 5-minute break over there, and just let that field touch the animal's field, what will happen is often you will get a feeling, a sensation. We want to think, oh, I'm going to get a thought. Probably not. But you will most likely get a sensation and a feeling. Let that feeling be. Don't analyze it right away. Okay, this is just 101 here. Let it sink in. Then give yourself time to have your first impression of that feeling. What's your first impression? Go with it, write it down. Because you got to remember, animals don't think and have the same experiences we do. And we understand what we're looking at by and through the lens of our experience. And the animal's experience is different than ours. So we have to train ourselves to understand impressions. And I like to do it that way. I have an exercise. I used to work with a dog. She ran the Iditarod, and she took and trained dogs for the Iditarod race and trained people for mushing. And so we held clinics on communicating with animals and communicating with your dog intuitively, because you don't have time to use words. It's too noisy. The snow's flying. And that was an exercise that we would do. And just practice that. And what you'll start to realize is that the more you do it, the more those impressions will be like, oh, that animal is saying, like, we had a heater on under the house, and my cat was like, hello guys, that thing is, there's something wrong, you need to go down and check it, check your heater. And finally took my own advice, and I sat down and got the impression, and it was just the feeling of wrong. It's wrong. And I thought, okay, the highest good, where should I feel wrong? What's wrong? And I got the feeling I got the feeling of under, like there. So I went there and I went, oh, we forgot the heater under the house was on, and he was letting us know. So it's a bit of translating.
It is. And, the more that you tune and attune like you did and practice, the more it just becomes second nature.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're not questioning anymore. You just know.
Yeah.
That's it. And you don't need this to confirm this ever, because that's the problem. Mm-hmm. I feel that's why we have a lot of brain issues as well. Mm-hmm. We tend to live by I call it the unholy trinity: science, religion, and politics. Mm-hmm. Whereas we're spirit first. We're living in a 3D world, a physical world, and we're here for a reason. We signed this contract for this mm-hmm. lifetime.
Yes, we did.
And I believe a lot of us, like you and myself, we're here to learn how to connect with spirit, with animals, to heal and to live spiritually, not, the other way around.
I agree. And get a whole new perspective of what living spiritually means. Yeah. Because there's a lot of limiting beliefs. There's a lot of beliefs around that phrase, I think. I know in my own life, there was a lot of undoing to do, or relearning to do, of what does that mean? What does that look like for me? I grew up in a very religious family. Mm-hmm. And so
the religious wound, I call it.
It was. And so it taught me a lot of great things. And for me, I've had a lot of relearning of there's so much fear in the world that I grew up in. There was so much fear. Well, fear is not a high vibration at all. It's not a love vibration. So relearning and reprogramming that aspect. And that was closing down that, when we're wanting to learn to talk to animals or to understand or to work. It's the same thing as working from the heart. Working and understanding animals and working and connecting from our own space and connecting to our own selves, our authentic selves. It's the same practice. But what will block it is fear. And fear closes down that the root chakra, which starts just a domino effect up through our entire energetic body, and then locks us into this space right here. Yes. And then that circulates energetically this brain loop that sends our central nervous system woo. And as you mentioned before, our health issues, gut issues, right? At that point, and other can't sleep well.
Always hypervigilant. Yeah. That one too. And that's why anxiety is so rampant. But there's different types.
True.
That people operate from. And honestly, intuitive development, something you and I do, connecting with the animal, something you and I do, is all part of healing all of that.
Yeah, it is.
I tried everything, and I'm very passionate about it. And I don't really care what other people think, because I feel there's the difference, but I don't lead my life by emotions, and because I would, when you first starting out, I was like, ooh, in the air. Oh, someone else can, do all the physical stuff, like the adult stuff. I'm just going to float on my rainbow, my unicorn. But then I realized, oh, I'm really disconnected from the ground. Oh, so anyways, it's a whole process. But it really is a game of charades with spirit, meaning you have to tune in and attune to what are your senses showing you, telling you, hearing, whatever it happens to be. There is no, like, I don't know about you, but I see some in certain circles. Well, if you do this certain meditation, you will open up your third eye. I mean, that might help, but if you only do it once and then the rest of your time is garbage, meaning you're not eating right and all this other stuff, then you really did waste your time. Do you have a self-care practice? I guess is what I'm asking. Every day.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we're more, like I said, it's beyond the diet. Diet is huge, but we're more than physical. We're more than energetic, and we're more than emotional. We're all that. We're our thoughts, we're our emotions, we're energetic, and we're a physical body. So our daily practice needs to consider all of those areas.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's this quote that you had said, horses healed me, and they will join in the healing and activation of your gifts as well. That was beautifully said. Beautifully said. Now, I know that you have a gift. I believe I'm going to put it in the comments. Did you want to just share what your gift is for everyone joining today? And I'll share that out in the comments.
I shared with you a meditation that I enjoy. And in those meditations, I embed a healing as well. And it will not activate. If you just want to enjoy the meditation, please enjoy it. It's grounding, it's centering. It just feels good to just kind of take that moment away from the world and everything else that's on your plate. But also with it is a healing. So anything that is blocking you emotionally or energetically, sometimes those are very tied together, that's keeping you from what's your intention. Do you want to ground better? Do you want to sleep better? Do you want to connect to your heart better? Set your intention. Say, I set my intention that I want to connect to my heart better. I want to be connected to my authentic self.
Yeah, because intention is everything. I do a vision board every year, and that was on my vision board. Yeah, it's very important to have an intention.
So as people are receiving, as they receive this meditation, set your intention, and that block, that's your primary block to that, will be removed. That's embedded. The healing is embedded in the meditation. So enjoy. It's a fun one.
Yeah, enjoy, and just we tend to be like, well, my block is, I think it's here. So if it doesn't clear here, then no. I always say wherever the healing needs to go.
Yeah, it'll be
wherever and however. And then some will say, because when you do the energy clearing, I didn't feel anything. So I kind of set the table for everyone, because we come in with all these high expectations, which is meant to sabotage ourselves. Because then if it didn't work, you're like, oh, it didn't work. Okay, I was right. Anyways.
That's a good point. Yeah. But you'll never know. You know what, another thing about meditations and healings that I found to be, we do come in with these, well, what will it be? Where's my sign? And do you know, one of the things I love to do and recommend is, and I'm not a great journaler, so this is coming from somebody that really doesn't like to journal, but I find it helpful because when you do a healing or receive a healing, things will just come up. Like you may be doing the meditation and all of a sudden you get these crazy things like, it doesn't make any sense. And it just starts running through your head, this dialogue. Just take note of it, because often guidance and clearing happens in layers. And you start putting this information down, and in a week it's a puzzle. And you're going to get this piece, this piece, this piece, this piece. And at the end, here's the whole story. And you're going to go, oh, that's what guidance was trying to show me. So I recommend that too.
But I wanted the whole puzzle done like right now. No, sorry.
I know, right? If only.
I'm being so cheeky because I've had those conversations. Divine timing. It's like, really? When? No, sorry.
Like, come on, divine.
I got God on, like on standby here. No, don't work that way. And if a door is closed, quit knocking. It's not your door because there's 10,000 more for you. And another big one that keeps coming up is, I don't have the money for that. I don't have the funds. Flip it and go, I am naturally abundant. And this is something I intend to bring into my life, and it will manifest, and I let it go. I've done that so many times on a wing and a prayer, with hope and faith, virtue and understanding, and it's happened every single time.
Well, the second we say it has to be, we put a chokehold on it, coming.
That's right. And it's an investment. Why not invest in yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful. Well, I always ask my guests these two questions before we say goodbye. And then, of course, if there's anything else you'd like to share. And of course, if you miss us, whether you're listening to us on your favorite podcast or on the replay, still send questions to us. We're not going to leave you hanging. We're not that type of show. I always ask, what does magic mean to you?
Good question. Nice. What does magic mean? And is that one for me or for our audience?
Yeah, that's for you and for anybody else that would like to go,
what does magic mean to me? Oh, I love it. I think magic is the spirit of creation. That creation that we get to do, that creation we get to have from our soul self. That is magic. It's alive. It makes us feel alive. It ignites us. That is magic. So it's that freedom to create from our heart, from our passion. Magic.
Love it. Absolutely. And of course, this is a show about, collaboration and, the golden age of Aquarius, community, connection, co-creation, and co-opetition, not competition. I always ask, how can we as a collective energy make your dreams come true? What is your big Moby Dick dream?
I've got some Moby Dick dreams. Yeah, I do. So I love collaboration. I think my dream is about collaboration. I think it's about getting healers and intuitives from the love space that we are in, Christine, and just really seeing us work together and create magic, to be able to touch millions of souls and people like us who have experienced being stuck, and be able to walk with them and say, okay, let's show you, let's facilitate so you find you.
Yes.
That kind of collaboration and working together with like-minded, like-hearted people to bring community and that kind of energy for the massive growth and shift that we're ready for. That's my hairy, audacious goal.
Love it. Love it. I'm so, bringing that into, that field, and, it's already done. I'm sure there are people that have heard this or have not heard this, that it's already divine. It's being set up as we're speaking, and for the weeks and months and the time in between. So we wish that all for you.
Thank you.
Anything else you'd like to share with us before we say goodbye? I did leave all your links to get a hold of you, and
I look forward to connecting. Christine, I look forward to seeing what amazing things you do. I looked up your programs and what you do. We are in so much alignment. I cheer you on. People need to connect with you and really grow with the experience and the knowledge that you bring to the table. I totally support you in what you do and believe in what you do. So audience, those that know me, please check Christine out and what she is doing. There is reasons we see and connect with certain people. There's a reason we're here together. I am so glad that you joined us. And if there's any questions that you have that you think that I could shed some light on, I would love to do that with you. So like Christine said, thank you for sharing my links. And I would love to connect with anybody that has a question. Let's chat. If you'd like to meet my horses, I will definitely introduce you. It's so much fun. Christine, let's meet the horses someday.
I can't wait. I mean, it brings me back to 2018, my first psychic fair. My booth, all the horses were behind me, and they all came over and they'd hang their heads over the rails, and because they knew something was on, they just loved it, right? And I loved it. It's something that will stay in my heart forever. So yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It was great to be here with you. Thank you for
Yes. Well, thank you so much. And I look forward to connecting afterwards. And like I said, everyone, leave your questions here. You know how to reach Janell and I. And please remember, healing begins where the ego ends. Take care, everyone.